All right, let's try this again. Welcome, everybody. Hi, bonjour. I'm Neshi Lokotz, and you are watching Communications from Home. And we've been having some audio issues, so we're trying something a little different. Okay, we're going to see if this one's working. Yes, yes. All right. So, Rob, we need to do a little sharing out of it, and so that we can get others on. All right. So, bonjour, everyone. Hi. Neshi Lokotz here with Communications from Home. We are starting over, starting over. The audio in our other live stream wasn't working, and so we just started a brand new live stream, and so we're going to start over. And the topic tonight is all about being forsaken, being abandoned. And I got this topic from my spiritual team last week when I asked them, your mic is still open, Rob, is, what should we share on Tuesday? And my spiritual team gave me the topic, and they said abandonment. And I have to tell you, I said, "Are you sure?" I really don't want to do that. It's such a hard topic. It's such a emotional topic, challenging, difficult topic. And the reason why they would like me to do this particular topic tonight is because a lot of people have been doing a lot of healing work for a really long time. And some people are not just now facing the uncovering or the understanding, the awareness of being abandoned, forsaken, or being the person who has done the abandonment. So it's a giving and receiving portion of this. And why do we even want to address it? Why do we even want to bring up those kind of memories, right? It's all about healing. It's all about healing and preparing ourselves for the next evolution, right? And actually, we're right in it. We are in that transition, and energetically speaking, right? And so this topic is the reason why I needed to bring it to everyone tonight, so that we could have a conversation around it. And so we're going to check. It looks like we have a couple people here with us that found us and followed us over here. Yay! Thank you, Rochelle. Good, good, good. You can hear me. Yay! That's good. All right. Looks like a couple more people. Now remember, we can't see you in the studio unless you actually let us know. Say hi. We got you here, and that way we know that you're in the studio with us in the live chat. So this topic is a difficult one. It is. Um, yeah, it's in that being in that position of having those strong emotions, because this doesn't usually happen without any trauma attached to it. Okay. There's many ways that we can abandon or be abandoned. Right? There's an emotional abandonment, there's the physical, there's spiritual, right? And there's mental. It happens to all of us, to us in every single one of our bodies. And it takes all of those aspects of ourselves to actually fully heal it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, because I believe that everyone has experienced this in some way. And I think that's why it's a difficult topic. It's a challenging topic. It's a kind of that challenging topic that sometimes we don't want to address. We don't want to look at it. We don't want to acknowledge it. And so tonight might be your very first time in acknowledging the presence of that which needs to be healed, or at least addressed. Okay. Yeah. And in our old live stream we just started, there was a comment in the comments, and I think it was from Cindy, and she said something like that something about, is even if you're removing negative people from your life. And my reply to that, Cindy, was, It could be abandonment, and let me explain how or why. Is that when you remove those people from your lives, it depends on how you do it. Okay, so some people experience this in a very trauma kind of way. All right. So, there's an event, there's an argument or a disagreement, right? And both are possibly very vocal, very loud, right? Accusations and the like. That's one way. And usually emotion is running very, very high. Um, Perhaps a lot of anger, right? Things get said. And in that way, you're really hurting each other, or you're trying to, right? Usually with your words, and sometimes physically, mentally, and emotionally. And at that point, maybe one or both of you will say, I'm done. And you walk away from them and you literally cut them out of your life. Okay. The issue is never addressed. The understanding of it and the sitting down and talking it over rarely happens. Sometimes one person will extend it and the other person will refuse to receive it. And so many times our ego is so involved, right? Because we want to be right. And so when we're in that position of wanting to be right, that really is all about our ego. Okay. And how do I know this? Is because I've been there. I've experienced this one. And the opposite can happen as well. You could be the person who shuts down. You literally, no emotion. You don't talk to them anymore. You don't contact them. You stay away from wherever they might be, right? And so, in a way, you're ghosting them, right? And so you disappeared. You disappeared, and they don't even know what the heck happened. That's a form of abandonment as well. All right. Now, doesn't mean that we shouldn't have self care and, um, remove certain negative or toxic relationships. Okay, that doesn't mean we shouldn't do that. It's how you do it that makes the difference. Okay, and it also boils down to boundaries and how you set your boundaries. If you set a boundary out of fear, yeah, it's still going to feel like abandonment. If you set it out of love, it's not, and you can still have some connection to them. Okay, now you might not be buddy buddies and end up going to family reunions together or going out to dinner together or anything like that. But if you happen to be in the same place and you can actually be cordial, hello, how are you? Fine, good, and you walk away. you know, It, the emotion around it is much different. Okay, that's a huge difference. Yeah, yeah, and I wanted to share with you also about how this even came up. Um, I have been doing healing around my type 2 diabetes. And by the way, it's doing pretty good. It really is. Um, and I have been working with a good friend of mine. We met several years ago. Some of you may know her, Lori DeDecker. She is a healer. And we connected up, and because I really wanted to get to the root of the type 2 diabetes. Okay, why is it here? What's it trying to teach me? What needs to be healed around it, right? And so we were working on this, and I shared with all of you a book that my spiritual team, had brought to me to read. And you know how much I love Clarissa Pinkola Estes, the author. She has a book. She wrote a book and it's called Warming the Stone Child. And I didn't understand why my spiritual team wanted me to read this particular book. It's actually listening to it. Warming the Stone Child. And it's a book about myths and stories around abandonment and the unmothered child. Okay, so I'm reading this, the description of this book, and I didn't understand why my spiritual team wanted me to read this book. And so I'm listening to it because it's an Audible book. I'm listening to it. This was a few months ago. I want to say probably March or April. And I'm listening to it, and I realized in one part of it that I may not be the abandoned child. My parents wanted me, right? I was the only planned pregnancy between my parents. And so I know that my parents wanted me. I was not a physically abandoned child. But some of the things that's in that book pointed to my parents. My dad, his mother, my grandmother, passed away. She walked on when he was 12 years old. And in those days, I think that might have been like the 19. Dad was born in 22. Yeah. So it was, what was that? 1930, right? So back in those days, if you didn't have a mom, you had a dad, but you didn't have a mom that you're living with, you were still considered an orphan. Okay? My dad, he was a kid on the streets because my grandpa was working every day, and so the kids were left to up to their own devices during the day. So there's one, and the other one is my mom was one of 12 children, 12 children, and out of 12, she was the middle child, and so she was sent to a mission school when she was 6, and she was in that school until she was 12 or 13. When she would go home, when she'd go home for the summer, she was home for 2 weeks. Then she went to go live with her grandma for the summer. And then she was home for a week. And then she was sent back to school because it was a boarding school. Yeah. So I may not have the physical or emotional abandonment, but my parents did. And I carry that with me in my DNA from them. So that put a whole different light on the healing process. So fast forward, I'm working with Lori DeDecker, and this came up again, abandonment, because where's the joy in life, right? And so, yeah, it was one of those aha moments that I realized that this actually goes back generationally. We're talking about ancestral healing. Right? It wasn't just my parents. It went back even further because I have a great grandfather who, on my mom's side, who was abandoned as a baby and was raised in an orphanage. They say that he aged out. What he did was he walked away from there when he was 14 because he wasn't adopted. And so he walked away from the orphanage and nobody looked for him. Nobody went after him. So I carry that in the DNA. So this abandonment and this forsaken has many, many facets to it. Facets that you may not even know or aware that they're there, right? It could be coming from your ancestral lineage. It could be coming from something more in the modern day, in your lifetime. right? It could be something that happened to you in your own childhood or your adulthood, where someone that you thought was had your back, right? Um, that you thought that you could always rely on them, ended up walking away from you, or maybe you're the person who walked away. So we have to take a look at this from not just one perspective. That's why I shared the story with you. Not just one perspective. We have to look at it from a broader perspective, right? To be able to do the kind of healing work that's many of us are in the position to do now. Why? Is because we just spent a whole bunch of months just recently in a much quieter way of being. Our lives out there changed a lot, right? Even if you have a 9 to 5 and your employer was deemed essential and you were still going to work, the world around you was changing and shifting, right? And a lot of people had the opportunity to take that look, that closer look inside, and some of them did and some of them didn't. It doesn't matter whether or not you're consciously aware of it. Though these aspects of ourselves are floating to the surface, and we have the opportunity to really look at them, to really take it in and decide for ourselves, how are we going to heal this? Now, I could have done this by myself. It would have taken me a lot longer. It really would have. But I reached out. I reached out for some help. And so glad that Lori DeDecker was available and that we could work together on it from a distance, and to be able to start that healing process. And literally, guys, all I had to do was connect a couple of dots and have that aha insight on the abandonment issue. And it was like, oh my goodness. And so as soon as I could do that, I know, not just here, but I know it here, is that healing process began. The shifting of the energies started. And so what I'm experiencing now is more or less the effects. And it could be a while for it all to play out. It doesn't happen necessarily. It can, but not necessarily happens overnight. So, okay. Rob, I'm not seeing a whole lot of comments in the studio, but I'm seeing a lot on my phone.
There are no comments in the studio. They're not coming in. I'm going to try to refresh.
Okay. So, gotta take a drink of water. All right. We'll see. Rob just refreshed in the studio, and we'll see if your comments populate in the studio. If not, I have my phone, and I can certainly look at them on my phone. So we have Rochelle's here. Deb is here too. Hi, Deb. And thank you, Rochelle, for sharing it out. I appreciate that. Cindy's here too. Yay, Cindy. Violet's back. Hello, Violet. Cindy says, I'm not abandoned. No, I wasn't either. But yet I carried the DNA. Susan's here too. Hi, Susan. Yeah, Rob says, oh my God, why have you abandoned me? Right. For some people, just that word forsaken does bring up a whole lot of belief systems and feelings and emotions around it. Just the word, right? For me, the abandonment word was like that. And guess what? When I was looking for pictures to use for the promotional of the show, and I put that word abandon in the search, and I think it was Pixabay I was using. Almost all of them were of puppies or kittens being abandoned and being treated horribly, to the point where I couldn't look at the pictures. It's like, I'm not using those. Oh my goodness. And Patty's here too. Hi, Patty. Patty Herrera is here with us. And so is Pat McDonald. Hello, ladies. Deanna says, discernment based upon your boundaries. Yes. Yes. And Deanna, you brought up a really good point, is that in order to really wrap not our minds, not only our minds, but our hearts around this, we really do need to be grounded, and then we have to be centered and protected. Okay? Because this is not a simple topic. This is not an easy topic to or subject to deal with. It's not. That's why I called it heart rendering, because the I'm hearing Polly Joe in my head. It's like it's one of those core wounds that happens and affects all of the chakras, mostly the root chakra. Okay. Yeah, our base, right? And so, yes, we do have to be grounded to discern all of this for ourselves. Yeah. And Cindy's saying, wow, both of my parents had family leave them through suicide. Yes. See, abandonment is not just a baby being left on the doorstep. That is heart rendering to begin with, right? For those that are adopted, I have two adopted brothers. Not a lot of people know that, but I have two adopted brothers. We weren't raised to say, "Oh, that's the adopted one," right? We were just brothers and sister. That's it. Um, but yeah, those two brothers, they have had to really wade through that. Why didn't they keep me? Why was I given up? Why was I abandoned? Right? Even though, my parents loved them and they still love them, um, they still had to walk through that and face those things. Um, yeah, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. And so Cindy said, suicide is what I healed in my ancestral healing. Oh, good for you. Yeah, Susan's, yes, absolutely, Susan. Thank you for those emoji cons. So when we are addressing this issue, be grounded, be centered, be protected, and be honest with yourself. Okay. Abandonment happens in many different forms, in many different ways. And if you really want to heal this, you have to take a look at it from both a very broad perspective, such as the ancestral, all the way down to the micro. Okay. And in the micro, that's where we're looking at ourselves and what we do in our behavior and our words every day. Right? Every day. Now, I'm going to share this with you, and it's going to be, I'll try to get through it without tears. Recently, like last week, one of my aunts, my last surviving aunt, passed away on my mom's side. And actually, I think I only have one on my dad's side. That's Aunt Mary on my dad's side. But my youngest aunt on my mom's side walked on last week, which leaves my mom as the last sibling standing out of 12 kids. Out of the 12 siblings, 6 survived to adulthood. And my mom now is the last one. And I have to tell you that, she's always had to deal with this issue of abandonment. And it's right in her face. And so, not just grieving over your sister, your youngest sister, the one she babysat, because she was quite a bit older than her sister. But dealing with, I'm the last one. And so it brings up a lot of issues for her and for me, because I'm there with her. And so we have to look at at this very challenging topic from many different sides, many different facets of it. And why? Because it brings up such deep, deep emotions around the healing. We can do it. We have every tool at our fingertips to be able to do the healing around it. Otherwise, it wouldn't come up. Otherwise, it wouldn't come to the surface at all. It would stay under. But if it's coming up for you, and if this topic, if this show you saw the topic and you said, oh, I got to go, I got to listen to that one, there's a message in it for you that your spiritual team brought it to you. So what aspect is it? It could be like Cindy said, it could be this really broader picture of the ancestral healing, which is great. If you're one of those people, it's no small thing that you do because you affect your ancestors, but you also affect your descendants, right? So it's no small thing that you do. But it could also be something very in the present time. And to call on your spiritual team to help you, to bring you every resource possible that you need to be able to heal this, to deal with it. Okay? And when you say every resource, I'm talking about the healer, right? Maybe it's childcare you need to be able to get to an appointment or to sit on the phone with a healer. Maybe it's financial in order to pay for it, right? Maybe it's just plain time for you to be able to meet with somebody or to do your own healing for whatever time frame it's needed, right? So whatever the resource is to bring it to you so that you can get to the root and heal it at the root. This abandonment thing is not, it's a big challenge. It is. I'm not going to lie to you about that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Because, I can tell you that if we had a choice between bringing up memories and dealing with abandonment issues and going and doing something else, almost everybody would choose the something else because it's going to be easier. Yeah. I know I did. I did until I couldn't do it anymore. It was like right here, I can't not look at it. Right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to check with you guys in the chat again. Got to use my phone. Oh my goodness, Tyler's here. Hello, Tyler. Tyler's my nephew. And Rob, thank you for putting the link in there for the academy. Jessica's with us too. Good one. Okay. So when you're dealing with that word forsaken, and if it brings up even biblical, because a couple people have actually said that now. Okay. So we have to take a look at that one. That brings in belief systems. What do you believe? What do you believe? When you see or hear or read that word forsaken, what's the first thing that comes to you? Right? If it's in a biblical sense, then it's something that you have to take a look at. And what does that mean for you? Is it literal? Is it metaphorical for you? Right? Yeah. For some people, me included, when that word first came up, my image for me was the Jesus on the cross, not hanging on the cross, up on the hill, but when in the movie, when he was shown walking through the streets carrying the cross, dragging it, right, and how hard that was for him. And and you're just, your empathic stuff comes out, right? Even though you might be turning to the movie image of it, you could still having those feelings around it. So, what is that bringing up for you? And taking a look at it. And what does that mean for you? You know? And if you're looking at it and you say, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why? Why am I seeing this or why am I thinking about that? That's when this is what I do. I say, I'll talk to my spiritual team, sometimes right out loud, sometimes just quietly to myself. It's like, I don't understand this. Why did I see that image? What was I supposed to get from that? Show me what that is. I really want to understand this, right? And the answer will come to you, whether you hear it, see it, feel it, read it, it'll come. And then what you do is you connect those dots, the synchronicities, those things that are occurring, right? And then all of a sudden you think, that's it. And you're going to feel it. You'll feel it in your gut. It's like that. That's it. That's it. That's that aha moment, right? Because it goes from there to the brain. And that's when we get, oh, yeah, I get that. Make sense? Yeah. I know that I'm making it sound simple when it's not. It's not at all. All right. Cindy's saying, I have feelings from when I was a toddler and left by myself at some old lady's house to babysit me. Yeah. That, you know, Cindy, that I think almost all of us have experienced at one time or another, right? Yeah. You know, I've witnessed this. It didn't happen to me, but I witnessed it. And the feelings are just, I mean, you cry with them. It's just so emotional. And that's when there's a small child who is waiting for their parent to show up to pick them up for the weekend or the day. The parents don't live together, they're not together, they might be divorced, or maybe they were never a couple, right? And the child knows their mom or dad, and it's their weekend, right? And the parent doesn't show up. No call, just a no show. And the child is waiting there with their bag packed, waiting, and there's no show. And so the parent that's there, ends up having to maybe do something, an explanation or a lie, or bald-faced truth, which is sometimes even hurts even more, you know. And that child is crying. Why doesn't he want me, or why doesn't she want me? Right? Yeah. I've cried with that child. It's like, I don't know why. It's not because I don't have kids, right? But I have nieces and nephews, and I have been with them when they were little, and that's happened. Um, yeah, it's heart wrenching, heart wrenching. Now, it can happen as an adult too. It can happen as an adult as well. When someone has promised that they are going to be there or do something and they don't show. I never tell my mom, so and so is coming on a certain day at a certain time. I learned that the hard way. Is, if they actually show up, then it's a surprise for her. Look at this nice surprise, right? Yeah. Otherwise, I've experienced that too, watching her face as the time goes by and it's time for bed and nobody has showed up, and it's like, I guess they were busy. Maybe, could be, you know? Yeah. So abandonment happens in many, many different ways, different facets. But if it's come up, if the topic, the subject, the memories have floated to the surface, then it's time. It's time to take a look at them. Time to heal. Right? Time to face it. Put it in perspective. Yeah. If it's floating to the top, you're ready. You still have free will. You can choose not to do anything with it. You can choose to look the other way, and that's okay. Another opportunity will come along, and maybe you'll be ready then, right? Or you can ask for a bunch of courage, bravery. Okay, take that deep breath in, and when you exhale, it's like, okay, what do I got to do? Who do I got to see? Right? Yeah. All right. Going back to the phone, catch up with you guys in the chat. Rochelle says, really good topic. Rob says, what's better is watching divorced parents using their children as pawns in a petty game of power. I know that one too, Rob. I used to work in child support, and I'd be sitting in court during those hearings because child support was an issue, and listening, being the witness to what's going on. And you even have attorneys calling the children tax deductions, right? And so here's this thing, this mental power struggle, right? They want to be right. They want to be right. And if you're in that place, because almost every single one of us has done that. We want to prove that we're right. Right? That's not healing. It's not. That's feeding your ego, and it's out of balance. When you get to the point of not caring who's right, but I want this feeling to go away. I want this sadness to go away. I want to be able to think of so and so and not have this feeling of sinkingness, right? This feeling of anger, this feeling of whatever it is, and to heal it. That's when you know you've set your ego out to the side a bit so that you can get to the real feelings underneath it. And usually it's fear. Yeah, and Rochelle said you're a good, compassionate daughter. I really try. Sometimes it's it's a challenge, Rochelle. You know, I've learned, I've learned it's one day at a time. Sometimes it's one morning or one afternoon at a time. And pretty soon the day's gone by and okay, we did good today. And it really does help you keep you in the present. That's for sure. That's for sure. So thank you for that compliment. I'm looking at the time. We're near the top of the hour. I want to make sure that we leave you with this about abandonment: is that you're still loved. I know sometimes it doesn't seem that way because here's this abandonment that's happening again. Why does this keep happening to me? Right? Why do people keep walking away from me? It's because it's time to take a look at it. And it could be like Cindy and like me, where you have to do some ancestral healing. You're the disruptor of a cycle in your family. And you have the opportunity to be the healer of that. Yeah. And even if it's not ancestral and it's more in the present life, is that if this has come to the surface, you're ready. You're ready to heal it, ready to let it go. Yeah. All right. So, and if you need help with any of that in the healer kind of way, we have a lot of healers here at Star Nations, a lot of them. They're not just show hosts and contributing writers, although every single one of us are healers and spiritual teachers. There's a whole lot, we have a whole community here at Star Nations, and there's a lot of healers within our community. All you have to do is in the private group, the live stream shows private group or the academy, is say, I'm looking for a healer. And because I'm dealing with the healing of, and you can state that, and you'll have answers. And then you can discern for yourself who's right for you as a healer. Right? Yeah. All right. So, because I don't want you to think that you're all by yourself, because you're not. All right. So, I'm going to take a couple minutes here because I want to share two. We've got so much going on at Star Nations, as usual. As usual. Um, First of all, we're so close to publishing Ortrun Franklin's book, The Key of Life. And I have to share this with you. I'm sorry, Rob, I didn't send you the picture of the book cover again. But I uploaded to the platform for the print book this weekend. And we're waiting on the proof copy to be sent to us. And so we're going to proof that. We're so close to publishing the print copy. And tonight I just got a message just before we went on air with this show is that the ebook file is ready for me to upload to the platform, and I can work on that one and get that one all put together on the platform. And we're so close to having her book published. Yes, so look for it. Look for it. We're doing a pre-sale that starts on Wednesday, tomorrow, the 22nd. The pre-sale for the book, and we're charging $10 for this book for the pre-sale. We'll have the link out there for you guys. I'll have it in the morning, so watch for the posts. Oh, there it is. There it is. And so watch for that. Yeah, I love that cover. And so the pre-sale for the book is $10 for the print book. Okay, the print book is $10, but you have to pay for shipping and tax, of course, on that. And so that's going to run for a month. It goes from July 20. Oh, is that a month? No, it's not quite a month. July 22nd to August 11th. That's the pre-sale. And then we'll go into the author special, and that will be the signed copy from Ortrun. That's in the print. Okay. And so watch for all of that. It's coming around the corner. We're almost there. Thank you, Rob, for that one. And the other thing that we're doing, there's so many things happening. Which one's most important? This one is the most important one, and that is we have a class coming up with Ed Langen. You know Ed. He does. He is our law of attraction expert here at Star Nations. His show is Life Wisdom with Ed Langen. And his class is coming up this weekend. You guys still have time to register. He's only charging $50 for part one of two-part class, Law of Attraction, Saturday, July 25th. We're doing online. And honestly, Ed has changed so many people's lives with these two classes that he's doing, part one and part two. He's bringing it to Star Nations Academy for the first time. And so you're going to learn about the power of your thoughts and use the law of attraction for your life and to boost your vibration. There's a heck of a lot more happening too. But that is the gist of it. And you can go to Star Nations website, the Academy button. I think Rob posted that in the comments. And so just click on that and it'll take you to where you can, there it is, where you can register for it. Yeah, he's got a workbook. You guys are going to be doing some tapping. It's a good one. It's going to shift how you use your brain, your thoughts. Yes, it is. And so, and it could be that abandonment that we talked about tonight could be one of those blocks that you have to manifesting. It could be. Yeah. So hopefully you can join us this weekend for the Law of Attraction Workshop Part 1 with Ed Langen. Yeah. Okay. And the second one I wanted to share with you is my class that's coming up in September. I know a whole bunch of you guys have been waiting for this class to be online. I've only taught this class in person in the past, but because of, our changing world, we've all had to shift gears and change things up, and this is one of them. We're going to be doing a 6-week class every Sunday afternoon, 6 of them, starting in September 20th and running till October 25th. This is all about ascension. It's about the journey of remembering is how to create from your heart, how to get into the tiny space of your heart, and how to activate your Merkaba. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing this one online. So, the very first class group that we're doing is going to be a smaller class. I'm only taking 12 people for this one because I really want to be able to spend the time with you guys and helping me to really tweak the online class. Okay. So, we're going to be founding members of this very first group coming through on the online course. So if you want more information about that, head over to our website, the Academy button, and all of the details are right there. Okay? All right. So thank you for that, Rob. I appreciate it. And I'm so glad we got the audio to work. And thank you for hanging in there with us, having to start a new live stream. Appreciate it. And thank you so much, you guys. Look at this. Cindy says, I will have Maureen help with it tomorrow. Oh, good. Excellent. 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 Christine just popped in too. Hi, Christine, one of my sisters. So I'm so glad that you guys could be here with us tonight, with me, in the live chat. And if you're watching this in the recorded version, thank you so much for doing that as well. I also wanted to share with you that and Rob, this is the first time you're hearing this, is that I am going to be taking next week off. All right. So Paul, my husband, is having surgery on Friday, and so I'm going to be busy with him starting Thursday and getting everything prepared and ready, and then it's an outpatient, so he's going to be home, but he has 4 weeks of recovery from his surgery. So the week after, next week, we're going to be pretty busy with him and with mom and with George and Paul's mom too. So yeah, so next week we'll be taking off, and I'll be back the following week, which is the Tuesday date following is August 4th. Communications from Home will be back. Okay. All right. Okay. So with that, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for Communications from Home. Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.